Every second you waste chasing passive income is a second that you could be building the life of your dreams. Let me show you why passive income is a waste and a lie and what you should be doing instead. There's a fun joke that I like about entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is somebody who's willing to work 80 hours a week so he or she does not have to work 40. And I think that's true for most people that have been bit by the entrepreneurial bug. They go farther and faster than they ever would go at a job. As a matter of fact, if you really look at what entrepreneurship costs, generally speaking, especially for the first decade, and I really mean that, by the way, I'm not exaggerating. I think for your first 10 years, you're way better off with a job. You're way better off with a 9 to 5. You're way better off being able to clock in and out. You're way better off having somebody else worry about where your payroll is going to come from. You're way better off contributing to another organization so that you can just have a small but consistent and guaranteed yield on your time. It's a time for money trade, and you know what? It's actually a pretty good trade very often. The issue isn't those first 10 years, it's every year after. It's the rest of your life, because you get sucked into that trade and then you can't stop making it. And then especially as your lifestyle grows and you get a mortgage and you get married and you have kids and you get the car and you want those 2 weeks off every year so you can go to Disneyland and you have the vacation and you buy the timeshare, now you're stuck. You've sold yourself into a type of indentured servitude that feels soul-sucking and it's hard to get out of. So what's the alternative? What's the real opportunity? What a lot of the gurus and the info marketers want to sell you is this idea that there are these secret little mechanisms that you can either buy or build that will somehow churn out money without any real time or input on your end. It's this passive income promise. It's the make money while you sleep. The reason this is such a pernicious lie and the reason that it's so attractive is because the people that they're selling it to want to believe it so badly, because they have been sold into this trap and the trap is hard to get out of. And so they get sucked into these ideas of passive income or, these MLMs where, oh, if you just sell 2 friends and they sell 2 friends and you end up making, look at this downline and look at the math and how could you argue with this? And look at these 5 people who've been able to do it. It puts you in a position of actually feeling stupid for not trying. And that's what they're doing, by the way. They're preying on your fear of missing out. The real issue is if their passive income promise was possible, they wouldn't be selling it to you, they would be doing it. Nobody would sell the magic metal detector that helped them find all the precious metals. They would just go mine for the metals. One of the things that I'd like to offer is if somebody's trying to sell education, chances are that whatever it is that they're selling used to work, is now exhausted, and there's more money selling the education than there is doing the thing. Here's the truth about passive income. It's absolutely possible, assuming you're willing to invest the time on the front end that would allow for the snowball yield on a long enough timeline. Passive income doesn't come from nothing. It doesn't come from vapor. It can't just materialize. You can't just invent it. And there may be the 1 or 2 or 3 stories that you've heard about the person who got just the right domain or stumbled on just the right business or created just the right little app or widget or thing. The exceptions that prove the rule. If it were possible, and it were possible in a scalable method, nobody would be trying to give it to you. They'd be keeping it themselves and they would be doing it over and over and over and over again. The interesting thing about passive income is passive income comes from front-loaded investments of time. Think about every passive income opportunity that actually yields money. The easiest to think about is real estate. If you buy real estate yields. And the real estate yields compound over time, both in terms of cash flow and in terms of equity. But in order to buy the real estate, what do you need? You need a down payment. And that down payment is a front-loaded injection of value, because you trade time for money, you trade the money for the real estate, and then you trade the real estate for more time that ultimately yields passive income. Passive income, regardless of the mechanism that you're using, requires a front-loaded investment of time. So I have a business that yields passive income, technically speaking. I have a business that requires about 20 minutes a week where I meet with my executive director and make sure that the business is on track. It has roughly 15 employees. It does just under $1 million gross revenue, and we have 40% margins. I'll let you do the math. It's a great little business. I love it to death. I love it with everything inside of me. Here's what's interesting. For the first 3 years, it wasn't profitable. Not only was it not profitable, but it was bleeding money, and I had to continue to invest in it. It took so much of my time. I had to really pound the pavement, build relationships, figure out what was working, figure out what was not working, build a product, build a service, build something that people loved. And then I was able to create an agency that over time made enough money for me to hire somebody to take over that business and then quote unquote put it on a shelf and make it passive. But the front loaded time was immense. It was more than 3 full-time jobs at any given time. If you were to really peer into what it was that I was doing and what I was spending between my expenditure of time and my expenditure of money, it was equivalent to 3 full-time jobs. And that's the problem with that, is it's not a good sales pitch. So when people come to you and you already have a full-time job and you already have the mortgage and the beach house and the whatever that you're trying to pay for, and you're in this trap, and they're like, look, I can get you passive income, but you're gonna have to do what you're doing 3 more times in addition to what you're already doing. Nobody's gonna sign up for that. Nobody's gonna buy that info product. Nobody's gonna pay for that coach. Nobody's gonna to opt into that MLM. And so the truth doesn't sell. So what do? They sell you the lie. They sell you these weird, like at first blush, potentially possible ideas that when you really pursue them, you realize they will never work because they can't work. The idea of effortless wealth leads entrepreneurs down unsustainable paths because they're pursuing the wrong trade. They're pursuing value for nothing. Value for nothing. Think about the universal constructs. Think about like the laws of physics, right? Like energy can't be created and destroyed, and for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. This is an economic law. Value for nothing does not exist. If you ever find value for nothing, it means that you are on one side of a scam, one side or the other, right? You're on one side or the other of a scam or a fraud or something that is a vacuum and is going to get filled in immediately. And when entrepreneurs pursue value for nothing, they're actually pursuing that which cannot exist long term. Even if you find a short-term little pocket to where you're like, oh my goodness, if I buy this for $1, I can instantly flip it for $5. Markets are efficient and they will commoditize that so fast. And you know that if you've been in the business world for any given period of time. So when we convince people to pursue value for nothing, you are racing towards an absolute and complete total waste of your time. The thing that you want to pursue is you want to pursue an adequate exchange for value that has a long enough shelf life that allows you to replace yourself over time. Here's what that isn't. It's not sexy, right? There's nothing about what I said that excited you. You want to pursue an exchange of value that has a time horizon that you know you can lift yourself out of over time. And the thing that's really frustrating about that is you're actually racing against the clock because other people are trying to do that too. So what do? You have to be better. You have to be more efficient. You have to be more committed. You have to try harder. You have to care more. Those are the things that build mechanisms that ultimately allow you to create passive income. The other thing that will create passive income is more income. The most passive income I've ever had in my entire life came on the heels of my exit. Why? Because somebody handed me a very large 7-figure sum that I got to go invest. I got to buy real estate. I got to buy T-bills. I got to do hard money loans. And now suddenly my money is making me money. But you need money to do that first. One of the things that really pisses me off about the way that people posit wealth is a study that's oft cited is the vast majority of wealth is produced in real estate. The vast majority of high net worth individuals all come from real estate. And so what does that do? It floods everybody into real estate. The issue, what they don't explain though is, and this is really interesting, I learned this from Perry Belcher, who's my business partner in the Driven Mastermind. The majority of the wealth that went to purchase those initial seed rounds of real estate came from business exits. So if you look at high net worth individuals now, and you're like, oh, where'd your net worth come from? It's real estate. But that doesn't factor in time. How did you get into real estate? Oh, I had a business, sold a business, and then I was able to invest in real estate. So where did their wealth really come from? In terms of gross revenue, it came from the real estate. In terms of the seed capital to invest in real estate, it came from business. So passive income is going to come from time in. And that time in, by the way, is you working 80 hours so you don't have to work 40. And it's so funny. Everybody always talks about, I never want to trade time for money. I never want to trade time for money. That's the only trade that exists. It's the only trade that exists. But if you front load the trade, it yields longer and more over time. So really, interestingly, passive income is an absolute lie because it wasn't passive. You were just very active in the very beginning. And that's the trade you can make. You can work 40 hours a week for the rest of your life, which by the way is not a bad trade. It's not a bad trade. And if that's what you want to do, and if you want to have vacation and you want to take off for your kid's birthday and you want to have security and you want to have PTO and you want to have health insurance, make that trade. It's a good trade. But if for some reason you decide, man, I just can't do it, that's soul sucking, you have to front load the time. And I realize that this is an inconvenient truth, but it is an absolute truism. Everybody that I know that has achieved any level of wealth has done so by front loading their investment of time. So passive income doesn't come from a nothing for something value trade. That's a lie. And anybody who's selling you that lie does not have your best interest in mind. Passive income is going to come from a front loaded trade. And that front-loaded trade, by the way, is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a massive investment on your end. And if you're not ready or prepared to do it, don't do it. Don't do it. That 40-hour trade is a good trade. But if you don't want that, those are the two options. Those are the two inconvenient truths, by the way. Both options suck. Sorry, that's life. Both options are, it's like work 40 hours a week for the rest of your life and have kind of a comfortable life, but never all your dreams. Or have all your dreams, but take the 40 hours that you're going to work every week for the rest of your life, add them all up and get them done as quickly as you can up front. That's it. We all work roughly about the same amount, but this person gets the better life. This person has a little bit easier. It's up to you, whichever one you want. I'd love to know if you agree or disagree with me. Drop it in the comments. More than that, if this video has been helpful for you, I'd love it if you would share. Let other people know why the video is helpful, why you watched it, why you think they should watch it. And if this was helpful, I'm creating a whole host of YouTube videos that I'm doing my best to share everything that I've learned from, 25 years now as an entrepreneur. All the frameworks, all the mindsets, everything that I've got, I'm just giving it away. I'm giving it to you. I hope you go check out those videos and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching.